Welcome back to Doing Bart Things, and today, for you guys, bonus video. Just found something that from my last video I was missing and just didn't see, and wanted to I was like, why not? I'll make another video. You know, it's a cheap extra few minutes to just pound this out and talk about it. So, um, what I figured I would do is talk about the 900 X3D again, real quick, and then tack on a little extra, maybe PSA about getting ready to buy stuff for, say, somebody for Christmas, if you're looking for video cards specifically, and maybe have a talk about video cards in general, um, just to sort of bridge off the conversation or the talk I had a little bit ago in the last video that I posted. So, 9800 X3D. In the last video, I said the cache was flipped. So basically, the 9800 X3D has V cache, which is like stacked cache. It allows them to add a lot more cache to the chip for the same basic real estate by building kind of in 3D, if you will. And they usually stack it like on the top where you can see it, but I found a picture of one delidded thermal grizzly. Thank you, Derbauer. He's the guy who delidded one, and we can clearly see here. You can't see that. It looks like just a chiplet. You can't actually see anything on top of it. So I find that very interesting, or at least unique. So they've definitely made a change from what it was. And if you look here, this is what it used to look like. Okay, so you can see kind of this, the where the chips are, kind of and then you can see that little, kind of that lighter colored strip there. That's where the V cache is, basically. And then if you look here, there is no little lighter strip, right? It's just the chip. So I think that was correct as far as what they're actually doing. Now, how exactly does that translate in any sort of increased frequency or efficiency or performance? Not sure, right? I don't know exactly how that translates, but it looks like maybe it's a little more insulated this way. Would be the only thing I could gather, perhaps. Um, you know, Maybe I'm not sure. It would seem to me, honestly, that maybe and again, I'm just looking at this thinking, well, we've heard and I know that the Vcache is sensitive to heat, power, that sort of thing. So, you know, putting it further away from the heatsink that is trying to draw that heat away is interesting. I'm not sure how that, if anything, I thought it maybe would hurt, which shows how much I know probably about specifically this. But I do know for Zen 5 period, they did move the little thermostats around where they actually grab their temperatures from. Um, they changed the locations of those from lesser important places to more important places to get the actual temps, and just by doing that, because it allowed them to massage the power plan better, because they're getting more accurate temperatures on things. They eked out some more headroom temperature wise, and so thus a little bit of frequency headroom to make sure that this was not a regression in clock speed, but in fact, in some ways, it kind of gained a little bit of clock speed over the outgoing Zen 4. So I think that's the way that played out. Um, it's awesome that we're already getting people. DeBrouwer's already on it for delidding. Um, you know, I keep wanting to goof around one of these things one day and just like delid something. It sounds like, why not? YOLO, just delid it and see if we can get a cooler direct die setup going somehow. But one thing I will say, there is some risk in doing this. So do not take this on if you are not of if you don't fully understand that you could break your chip. It is a possibility. DeBauer's stuff usually is really good. If you follow the directions, maybe go watch a video, you'll probably be all right. But again, you take this on at your own risk. Pretty sure, I mean, let's be real. The you could put the heat spreader back on to where someone couldn't tell, probably, if you returned it. But I would not advise that, and I'm not going to show anybody how to do that. So, because I don't think that's right to do that. If you break your chip, you broke your chip, right? And I think you should look at other methods of, recouping that, right? Or just, take your lumps and go buy a new one. Again, you should not be monkeying around with this unless you know. I'm not going to say you know what you're doing, but you know what you're getting yourself into. That's the main part. I love it when people play with their hardware. That's great. It's awesome. Just we also want to do it with, with some morality, right, and some ethics. And, if I could afford to do it, I would buy one of these maybe and think about delidding it just for giggles, like I said. Because when you delid these and then you put the cooler directly on top, now the problem is you have to have some sort of like a shim, okay? These chips are very delicate. So what you don't want to do is, like back in the old day, we used to put the heatsink directly on top of the chip. And if you remember, well, maybe you remember, there was a AMD Athlon CPU Thunderbird. I think it was the Thunderbird. It was one after Thunderbird, I think. Like Barton or codename. I'm not sure. One of those. I actually had one of those chips crack on me once. So it can happen, and I think these have gotten way more delicate since then. That's why they put the heat spreader on them, so that way when you crank down on the heat spreader, it takes that load, so it's not it's evenly divided, right? If you see this, this is not a giant surface to be balancing a tightened down heat sink on, really. Plus, there's a lot of other little componentry there, that you don't want to get. You don't want to create any sort of connection between the two on top of the chip, probably would be bad. So you want to keep all that clean. So you want to get a direct die kind of shim, and I'm sure that Der Bauer is going to make one, more than likely, would be my guess, or some sort of thing that will do that, right, in order to protect that chip. Or maybe these are a little bit more beefy than I think they are. That's also possible. We don't know because nobody has this specific chip yet, but I can tell you that would be my main concern is, hey, I don't want to break this thing just by cranking down a heatsink on top of it without some sort of shim or something. Would be potentially bad. So keep that in mind. But direct die cooling is more efficient than trying to cool something through another intermediary like a heat spreader. Definitely getting direct die cooling is better almost every single time. So if you're going to do it extreme and you get a water cooling setup, like a water block, a pump, reservoir, and radiator, this might be for you, right? Maybe not, but just saying. I haven't done water cooling in 25 years? No. 35 years. No. 30 years. I don't know. 25, 30 years, something like that. Back, what would it be? It'd be definitely before 2000. Pretty sure. I think. Yeah. Anyway, long time ago. So, I don't know. Part of me is like, hey, that would be something silly and fun to do. And then I just get too tired from all the things I got going on. And it's much easier to throw an AIO in and call it a day. And they're pretty good now. You're usually not lacking for cooling, typically speaking. But maybe direct cool with an AIO. Maybe that's, I don't know. Try something like that, maybe. Let me know if you'd like to see something like that. I'm sure other people will do it and make videos about it. I'm not the only one who has these ideas, even by a long shot. I just have the idea. These, like, Der Bauer will probably do it. He's probably doing it right now. is what's happening. Like, it's not a thought to him. He's like, oh, look, this is how this works. And he's going to probably have a review, attempts, and all that other stuff, online pretty quick. So, but anyway, really cool to see. And you can see there, like, the die is definitely different. And probably because, they flipped the V-cache or whatever, it's on the base now, it looks like. So we'll see how that pans out for them on the 7th. I thought it was interesting. They are also going to have a 6-core model for the V-cache. So there'll be like a 9600 X3D would be my guess. So you'll have your full lineup of regular CPUs with no V-cache, and then you'll have your full lineup of CPUs with the V-cache in the 9000 series. So that's what it sounds like, but it'll be, they'll come out with this 8-core because that's the highest one in demand. They'll probably come out with the other 3 CES, January, something like that. Around there maybe by Christmas. I don't know. But yeah, they're coming out with the 9800 X3D specifically because it's before Christmas and they want to get a jump on Intel, which it makes sense. It's a little bit silly. Again, I don't know why. With what Intel released, I don't know why they didn't just release everything at once, and just get out of the way. But I think they kind of missed a step there. That was another reason why their launch for the 9000 series, I think, didn't go as well as it could have. But needless to say, they got their shot here. 9800 X3D launch is good. They price it appropriately. Nobody will care. Like they'll win, and we'll go on about our business. Anyway. Okay, real quick, PSA on video cards. So, right. What should one be looking at? Man, unfortunately, I'm not very happy with video card prices. I think that they're still way overpriced, which no shocker there, right? You might be able to find a good deal on a 7900 XTX, good deal-ish. They should just make these things $800. RDNA 4 supposedly is on the way. We may get an announcement also at CES. It should be a big CES show this year. Usually is, but it should be bigger than usual because you may have some CPU announcements from like AMD. You'll definitely have video card announcement from NVIDIA. Probably get the 5000 series there, I'm guessing. And you'll probably get a video card announcement from AMD. They'll probably announce RDNA 4, which is set to be something that is like as strong as 7900 XTX, but is much more affordable. It's a much smaller die, so we're talking 7900 XTX performance for probably $500-600 is what is being rumored. And again, I want to stress rumored. Don't get it twisted. Like, we don't know. But it is rumored also to have much better ray tracing performance, and that's kind of going to be the draw. Lower price, decent ray tracing. Hell, that might even be an upgrade from my 3080. I'm just not willing to pay $1,000 for a GPU right now. And as a result, me, just like I think many others, our upgrade cycle just keeps getting longer and longer and longer, where we would be willing to maybe upgrade every couple of years to 3 years to 4 years if we got a release that wasn't that expensive, right? So there's that then. The NVIDIA side of things, well, 700 XT, if we look at those, like, you can get those around the $650 to $670 mark. Yeah, $650. There you go. That's okay. I'm kind of waiting to see if these will drop down to the $50, right? And I think that'd be pretty solid. 20 gigabytes of VRAM is a lot. That's actually got a $10 mail-in rebate code, so that's not bad. Like, that could probably get you. Depends on what you're upgrading from. It's just not like I want to upgrade something from my 3080, kind of, but this just isn't quite there. Just not quite there for the money. I think I'm perfectly fine waiting with my 3080 till the RDNA 4 cards come out to see what they look like. So that's kind of where we're at with it. AMD, sort of like blah. with Nvidia, I mean, you're not getting a 4090. Like, just don't even bother. Um, they're $2,000. You know, you're going to pay $2,000 right now. They're just about to go out of stock, I think, because they are running out of production. I think all the 4000 series cards are starting to ramp down production wise as Nvidia gets ready to ramp up, if they haven't already, the production of the 5000 series cards, because it takes a little bit to get that quantity built up. Maybe it doesn't take that long. Like, maybe it just takes a few weeks of production, which makes sense. But we're already basically in November, so it may take a little bit, and they've got to get stuff sold that they've already got, which is what's weird to me. That if you've got to get this stuff sold, why would you charge $1,100 for a 4080 Super? Like, I just don't get it. Part of this is because it's Asus and they just do what they do. Like, you have a TI Super. I mean, $800 is kind of meh. It's all right. Like, it's not completely horrible. $789 there. So I really think the TI Super is probably where it's at, this 4070 Ti Super, because it's got 16 gigs of VRAM and it's a cut down 4080, but it's not overly cut down. I think it's a step up, and price wise, it's not great. Like, let's just be honest, it's not great, but it's something, right? What else would I say? I mean, I guess a 4080 or a 4080 Super if you're looking for NVIDIA really high end. But God, you're going to pay $1,000, and also you got the 5000 series in 2 months. 2 months, 2025, you'll get an announcement on CES, which is like January 6th or something. And who knows, by the end of the month, if you really want to spend over $1,000 for a video card, you may have to spend a couple $100 more, but you can probably save that between now and then if you're looking at this, and then buy yourself a 5000 series. Like, I hate that advice because I know I'm not going to like the price of the 5000 series, but but let's be real. Like, that's where we're at right now. If you just had to buy a machine today, if it just had to be an NVIDIA video card, I would probably err on the side of the RTX 4070 Ti Super. I would try to find a decently priced one of these. See what the lowest price is. So you got a Zotac open box for $749, Ventus $779. So something like that probably for the high end. And I'd probably take that and just try to be happy with it, I would say. It'll do the job. And the key there is you get that 16 gigs of VRAM. I just don't understand buying either that or, like, if you have to step up there. The RX 7900 has 20 gigs of VRAM, and if you look, like, you can get your, 649, you can get your Sapphire Pulse with 20 gigs of VRAM. So it's not even really just about the performance. It's also about kind of getting your money's worth, and I think you do get some more of your money's worth that way. Both these cards are good cards, like, they're decent. The 700 XT obviously is not going to be quite as good at ray tracing, but as far as raw performance goes, it'll be right there, with raster, right? Raster performance, it'll be right there with the 4070 Ti Super. Pretty close, I believe. Maybe not exactly, but again, this is also like $100 cheaper. So there's that. This is actually cheaper than that. So, this is kind of starting to get into that price where, okay, this is, like, I could, maybe if I saved enough, I could afford that. Versus it just hurts to save up to buy the $750 mid-range card. It just, that hurts. That hurts a lot. So, anyway, but yeah, so RDNA 4 at CES, RTX 5000 series at CES, probably some new CPUs, but it'll be the 12 core and 16 core, 24 thread and 32 thread Ryzen 9000 series X3D chips, probably that they don't release here in the next 7 days. That'll be the 9800 X3D. So, CPU, motherboard, platform now, which honestly, if you wanted to, because they're not going to make any crazy new changes to motherboards and stuff, like especially AMD, I mean, you theoretically could build your system and just like have technically no video card. You could run the onboard graphics waiting for your video card to come, but I hate that situation and that sucks. So there's not really any way around it. If you want one of these new video cards really to build, you got to wait to next year. If you want one of these new cards, that's pretty much it. Battle Mage, I've heard rumors of, but nothing super concrete just yet. Intel might be able to sneak in a few bucks if they were to release that before Christmas, but I suspect basically it's going to be just a bunch of video cards releasing at CES is what's going to happen, because they want to use Christmas to get all of these old built-up cards sold, get rid of that supply before CES, and that's just kind of the way it is. It sucks. That means that you probably want to look to Black Friday, Cyber Monday kind of deals to try and get maybe something, extra juicy deal-wise. But then be ready, because after that, since they're not restocking these cards and they're going to ramp up the lines to make, or manufacturers to make these new cards in January, be ready for shortages, right? As we get towards the end of the year, they stop making the old cards, they start making the new cards. You can see what's going to happen, right? You have a Black Friday special. If it's really good, a bunch of those get sold out. You could be looking at suddenly $900 4070 Ti Supers, right? So just be aware of that. Hopefully that helps you, and that's a little PSA for folks looking to do some shopping for Christmas. I would not blame you at all if you couldn't get a Black Friday deal, if you bought, like I said, all of the components to build the computer. Say you buy your 9800 X3D, don't forget that those have onboard graphics. You could use that temporarily while you wait for your video card to come in. That would suck. That'd be a sucky situation. I think it's probably best at this moment to just go ahead and, for Christmas, make it an I'm going to build you a PC or buy you a PC after the first of the year, and that way you can get all of the stuff to come out. And then right at the end there, when they're trying to offload the rest of the back stock, there may be some deals. So anyway, keep an eye out for that. Guys, thanks again. Hope you enjoyed your bonus video for today. Probably won't post anything until next week, but we'll see. Going to be looking at again for the 7th for the release of the 9800 X3D. Thank you again for watching. I really appreciate it. I just want to try to give the best information that I can. Take that, throw it into your calculation of what you want to do with all the other stuff. But anyway, have a great day, and we'll talk to you in the next one.